Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your Lunar Cycle Insight video for the cycle beginning with the new moon in October on the 8th or 9th, depending on where you are in the world, and culminating with the new moon in Scorpio on the 7th of November. You see my cat's just come to join me as I've started recording your video. So this is a very intense lunar cycle. By the end of it, we're going to have 5 planets in Scorpio in your 11th house. Of course, we are in the midst of a potent alchemical Venus retrograde too. So I am calling this the month of relationship revolution, of evolution through relationship. So this is a powerful time where we can really do some deep healing work around our intimate relationships, of course, and around how we share our energy, our resources, both our intimate and tangible, practical resources such as money. So it's a very, very potent time of change. And this new moon in Libra opens the gateway for this new cycle to begin. It's sat in square to Pluto, the great transformer, in your sign. Now, Pluto's been moving through your sign since 2009, asking you to really, work with those scorpionic energies of shedding, of death, of regeneration and rebirth. So this moon can really highlight the work that you've been doing. And it falls in your 10th house, Capricorn, which is the house that is traditionally ruled over by you and Saturn. And it's the house that is to do with our ambition, our career, our reputation in the world, our purpose. So traditionally, this could be a moon, in the sign of partnership, the sign of Libra, that would help you to call forth conscious connections that could support your individual purpose. But as I said, we have this square to Pluto in your first house, so it can really be looking at yourself in relation to how you communicate and connect with others in your work life. And it can also be reflecting back to you that balance of work and rest, work and play, because we know, Capricorn, that you are much more geared towards the working side of things, and you put a lot of time and effort and energy into what you're building with the world. So this might be a time where you have to make a change and look at your intimate relationships and how your work is affecting those. And of course, perhaps there might be people that you work with that you need to come more into balance and harmony with as well, as reflected by Pluto, obviously quite a catalytic energy, which, as I say, opens the gateway for this cycle. And after the new moon, Mercury will join Venus in your 11th house, where Pluto has also been transiting, where Jupiter has also been transiting since October last year. So we're finishing up the cycle of Jupiter moving through this house, as well as the Venus retrograde. And Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter are going to be joined by the Sun on the 23rd of October. So there's a huge emphasis on this house, and a huge emphasis on the energies of Scorpio, of death, of shedding, of letting go. So we can see with the 11th house that it is on the highest level connected with our highest dreams, visions, goals for the future. And it is also connected with the cosmic web and the internet web, the webs that we weave both online and in person. So it can be connected with our friendships, with our communities, with the circles, gatherings, workshops, groups of any kind that we are involved in. It can be to do with how we wish to serve humanity. It can be to do with our contribution through our purpose, through our individual talents and gifts to the collective. So all of these areas are going to come up to be looked at, you know. We will be facing our own shadows through these areas of our lives. So perhaps, you know, there's friendships that we need to work on. Perhaps there's something that comes up when we're working in a group with other people. Perhaps there's something that triggers us on the internet, online, and we know that that is, you know, just a hotbed of opportunities for growth at the moment, with everybody, you know, quite polarized with things that are happening in the world. And it can be a real time also of, you know, reworking your visions. Are they aligned with your Venus values? Perhaps there are some things that are not, that you've been putting your time and energy into, that have not come to fruition yet. So it's a time of either reworking them or letting them go, so that they are aligned with what is in your heart. This is a time of knowing that we create best when we create from the heart, particularly around the time of the Taurus full moon, Capricorn, your fellow earth sign, which can normally be quite a gentle affair. But this year, the Taurus full moon sits in opposition to retrograde Venus and the Sun in Scorpio, in conjunction with Uranus, who's been in Taurus in your 5th house since May this year, and in square to the North and South node, creating a fixed cross in the skies. So this moon for all of us is a point of catharsis, is a point of release. It can be a catalytic crossroads of destiny, where we have to choose what relationships, what ideals, what values, what ways of creating income, what ways of creating intimacy are still working for us, and what needs to be let go of. You know, what is no longer serving our soul, what is no longer serving our purpose, what is creating fear, you know, and blockages in our expression of self. Because the 5th house is the Leo house. It's all about the authentic expression of who I am, just for the joy of doing so. So this is the house where we express ourselves creatively, just because it feels good, just because we want to, and it brings us joy. And ideally, these creative essences can be used in service to the 11th house, to Aquarius, for the good of all humanity. So this axis is really highlighted for you at this time, and it might be that you awaken to some creative gifts, some creative potentials that have been latent within you, Capricorn. Or it could be reflecting where you don't value yourself, where you don't value your unique talents and gifts enough to share them with the world. And what is the fear behind that? Is it the fear of being judged or shamed by the collective, or by the friendship groups? Perhaps there's some friendship groups that you are outgrowing and expanding beyond at this time, or some, you know, circles and networks that really used to fit in with who you are, but now don't allow you that full spectrum of self-expression. And also this can be the house of sacred sensuality as well. We think of that kind of sexual feline energy of Leo here as well. And it can be an awakening that the creative and sexual energies are one in the same. And they can also be utilized to create this purpose that we are working towards. So it's a very, very interesting time, but the key lessons here are, you know, your self-love and unique expression of self versus what you feel the rest of the world wants from you. And when we move into the heart of the Venus cycle, just 2 days after the full moon on the 26th of October, these issues can really reach a crux point, because this is the moment where Venus has entered the vault of light. She has conjoined the sun and she is rebirthing herself. But before she can do that, she has to face her shadow self. She has to enter the darkness. So this can be a time when deep wounding around feeling worthy, around feeling lovable, feeling good enough, can be deeply triggered for us all. And for you, it will be reflected back to you through these 11th house energies, Capricorn. So are you feeling like your community at large are supporting you, your friendship community, your online communities? Are you feeling, you know, judged or abandoned or rejected in any way? Are you feeling like you need to realign your purpose with your heart's wisdom? So there are many, many questions that can arise as we look at these shadow aspects of ourselves and allow others to reflect back what needs healing within us. And that's not to say that they aren't responsible for their actions, just as we all are. But we can use, if we view what happens to us during this period as a catalyst, we can reclaim the lost fragments of our soul. So Venus will shift back into Libra on the 31st of October, which will be Samhain, the Celtic New Year. Very scorpionic energies of death and letting go around this time. For those of you in the southern hemisphere, this is going to be Beltane, the festival of love and sacred sensuality and fertility, the blossoming, the awakening. And both of these festivals really reflect the scorpionic vibrations, which of course to do traditionally with the more taboo subjects of sex and death. So collectively we'll all be working with our feelings around those issues as well. So Venus moves back into Libra, back into your 10th house where we had that new moon in the beginning of the cycle. And this is really significant because not only does Venus change signs, but she also becomes visible to us once more. This is known as the helical rise of Venus. And this means that she is now visible as the morning star. If we go out at dawn, we can see her just before the sun rises. We can see her on the horizon. And to our ancient star ancestors, the rising of Venus and the sign that it took place in was most significant because it is indicated the archetype that Venus will be carrying and sharing with us for the next 18 months until she goes through the process again. So for all of us collectively, this is a beautiful thing because, of course, Libra is one of the signs that Venus traditionally rules. It's the sign of community, connection, partnership, relationship, balance of masculine and feminine, karmic justice. So this is very, very significant for us on a collective level. And for you, this takes place in your 10th house, Capricorn. So we can see over the coming Venus cycle, you're going to be receiving a lot of support through other people for your work, for your career. And also, you know, if you're looking for somebody, perhaps you'll meet somebody at work during this period because this is very indicative of lots of new divine unions being formed as well, Capricorn. So it's an interesting time. Also on the 31st, we have Mercury, the messenger god, moving into the sign of Sagittarius, your 12th house, which is where he will go retrograde next month. It's where Jupiter's going to shift into next month. You've got a big month, Capricorn, because the nodes are also shifting into your sign. The South Node's going to enter Capricorn in November, the North Node into Cancer, your relationship house. So this is a potent time for you of clearing, of releasing, before we head into another new cycle of recalibration in November. And I know it seems like it never ever stops. I think these are just the energies now. So as we head towards that Scorpio new moon, you can think about how you want to rebirth yourself in these areas of career, of purpose, of creative expression. And of course, we'll talk more about the movements into Jupiter and in your 12th house next month when we have moved through this deepest phase of the Venus Scorpio cycle. So I'm going to pick a card for you to support you through these next 4 weeks, Capricorn. And these are from the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle by Colette Baron Reid. This is a very interesting one. It's quite scorpionic actually. It's the card of perception. So we see this little eye up in the top of the card here, and we can see actually a very autumnal woodland floor here. So this is a card of seeing what is unseen, seeing what has been hidden, which is one of the key themes of Scorpio. You know, Scorpio reveals to us what we haven't seen, what we need to see, and perhaps what we don't want to see about ourselves, about other people, about our relationships. So this card is really saying to trust your perceptions of people at this time. Trust your gut feelings, your intuitions around the true motivations of people that you're in connection with, that you're in relationship with, and try and work to understand your own motivations, Capricorn, because we know that in a similar way to Scorpio, there's a lot that goes underneath the surface with Capricorn. There is that energy of steadiness, of waiting for the right time to make moves, to say things. So just watch how that plays out in your life during this period. Watch how you hold back in order to act in more strategic ways, but also be very aware of people revealing their true character to you at this time, and really tuning into that intuition, to that psychic receptivity, which tells you how to best move forward on your pathway, how to best move forward on your journey. You are your own best teacher, Capricorn. You are your own best friend, which could be something that you really discover this month. So I am sending you so much love, Capricorn. If you wish to connect with me further, there are some links beneath to my Facebook pages and groups where I do my astrological writing, or you can reach out to me for readings there too if you would like to. So much love and happy new moon.